So today we're going to take a look at Paper Rex versus Guild on Ascent, because this was a crazy game. And to be honest, I kind of knew Guild were in some trouble, actually from the map veto. When they picked Ascent, and when on your opponent's map pick, you get to choose which side you want first. And almost every team will pick defense on Ascent first, because, you know, Ascent's a pretty easy map to defend, one of the easier maps to defend. But Paper Rex chose attack, and straight away I was like, oh, that's not a good sign, because that means they really like their attack. And that's how it played out, right? And so let's take a look, and we'll start here with round number 4, where Paper Rex are going to have some really cool, crazy ideas in this round, as they do for most. But actually, it kind of starts out pretty normally. This is one of the few rounds where they actually decide to just kind of, you know, stack up, hit the site, let's go, and it's because they have the raise ult. So let's take a look at them using it here. So they are just going to group up, throw an early nade, get some early control. They actually do get suppressed by the knife there, does the raise, so we get the ult orb, and then we're just going to go in off that. As you can see, Jing getting into position there, ready to go in. They start to come into the site, they get the stars down, they put the smokes up, they put this suck in there as well. And, well, Jing, he can't actually see anyone, but he just guesses that someone might be around Jen, and Russ is, and so they get that first kill just then. And we got Coldamenta inside this smoke here, and he does manage to get one, but then is traded off. And we get Forsaken, who's managed to come down short here, and is in this little tricky position as well. So they get on onto the site, they close the door. Forsaken is in a bit of trouble there, but and the Boombot does spot him. So he puts down his other teleport, and he actually is going to bait out the C's and the Satchel there from the race, and just teleport away. Now, Jing, this is one area, right, where you do think, like, maybe Paper Rex might be a bit better, or do a bit better, if they didn't always do this, where Jing is just going in unsupported, taking an aim duel. Sometimes it works for them, of course. They are very good players, but, you know, it does lead to some of these situations where they end up in a 3v3. But it's what they do in this 3v3 that is really cool, because what they are about to do is use the Fatal. As you can see, Benkai here, he's going to use the Fatal. And the door, as you can see, is mostly broken, right? It's almost broken all the way. So what they're going to do is they're going to Fatal this, catch all 3 players, as you can see, and then they're going to break the door because they can't hear because of the Fatal, right? Really just genius mid-round idea. On the fly, this is crazy. So none of these guys can hear that that door has just been broken by Forsaken. So you see Trex is looking completely the wrong way. They get a free kill, and now these 2 players, I mean, they can't win the round, right? The spike has already been ticking for some time at this point, and now having to come from here and, like, re-clear all of this, you know, make sure that no one's, like, lurking back here. It's just an impossible task, right? They just don't have the time, and so what we're going to see is eventually that these 2 players do just decide to save, because there really just isn't enough time. You know, you see that they think about it for a bit, but then they realize, yeah, we can't really afford to go back into that. The time is too low, and eventually Leo will just run with a gun and get away. And it was a really nice round for Paper Rex to start off, as we see the save from Guild start to come in. And now let's come to round number 5, the very next round. This one, Guild are on a bit of a save. They do have those 2 rifles that they kept from the last round. But what we're going to get is some early A presents from the side of Paper Rex, where they send in a Prowler. They got the KO knife here as well, and they see that no one is really close to them. And they guess to save, this is a pretty good idea, right? Just want to stay safe. And Benkai's going to go get the ult orb on A right there. What we're going to see from Guild, though, is a reaction. They send their own KO knife out. It doesn't actually hit anyone, so they decide, okay, maybe they've come back. You know, maybe we can take some space, surprise them if they ever come back here. Coldamenta starts to sneak out thinking he's safe, but actually he isn't, and they get this kill. Then we're going to get some trader utility. We get an Astra Suck, we get a Siege, we get a Boombot, and we're going to get a Prowler. And this Prowler is very important that it hits Russ right there, right? They can see where he is, so they're going to throw the nade. Now, obviously, Russ here, he's blind and also deaf, right? So he, you see it on the replay, actually. From his point of view, this nade just kind of like whizzes past his face, and it's very difficult for him to judge where that nade actually is. He can't hear, right? And he can't see it. He just sees it quickly whiz past his face, so he doesn't know if it's really far behind him or if it's right next to him. It actually turns out it's pretty much right on him, and he doesn't really realize until it's far too late, and he's not blind anymore, and he actually dies there to the nade as well because of that Prowler. But this was happening a lot, right? This kind of thing, they really got in this position a lot, and I think that this was a couple things, right? Guild like to play for retake, and if you watch the Optic video that I did against Guild, they sometimes just leave sites clear, right? Where they literally have no one on the site. And Optic did this quite often to them as well. But I also think it's part of like Paper X's maybe the expectations Guild had for Paper X, that they were just going to be a let's hit the site team, you know, and just full execute all the time. But actually Paper X weren't doing that on Ascent that much at all, and they had a lot of lurks like this. Actually, in this instance, it's not going to pay out for them, because Forsaken, you'll see, catches the worst time in it. As he's about to sneak into a position where he's guaranteed a kill, Safe actually comes back and sees him and actually wins that gunfight. And so we actually end up in a 4v3, and this is obviously a retrievable gun for Trex. So now they, you know, it's a winnable round. They Astralt across here, as you can see, like this. But I really love the decision by Paper Rex here, right? The great call from Benkai, whoever called it, knowing that Guild would be, you know, pretty close already, right? That as Forsaken has died here and he's seen one already there, you know, they probably know that Guild are gonna be pretty close to already being on that site, and actually Benkai does see one as the chamber TPs away, and so they decide to come back the other way. And now what they're gonna do, I mean, I love this as well. MyFreak actually put the star down here though to kind of convince them, actually, no, maybe you should stay, right? They were putting a smoke here for when this wall fades. We're still sticking here, and you'll see that that just causes a bit of pause there for Trex. But then what's gonna happen is he's gonna smoke off the chamber trap as well, right? And so this is really, really smart from MyFreak, and it's gonna get them a free kill. And this kind of thing was happening a lot, where they were just completely outmaneuvering Guild. They get a free kill there. You've then got these two players here coming in short, and they're going to be able to catch off Leo in a 2v1 and manage to win that fight, as you'll see just here. And then we also have Safe here, who, yes, could have maybe stopped Jing from planting there, but I don't think it would have mattered. There was still plenty of time. There would have been a 3v1 where they knew where he was. So Paper X managed to win the round, and this kind of like outmaneuvering happened quite often on this half. And now let's come to round number 8, and it starts off with some early A presence, as you can see from Paper Rex. Actually, there actually isn't anyone there from the side of Guild, and Guild are actually going to manage to get the first kill, and this felt like the first time they got the first kill in this game, just there with Safe hitting Benkai. But the response from Paper X is just, okay, let's just go B, let's just group up, go B fast, maybe we can catch them off guard. But actually Leo throws a really nice seize, and they just miss the nade, as you can see here. It just hits the lip of this, and actually just, you know, bounces here harmlessly and doesn't hurt Paper X at all. Flash of the smoke, in they start to come, right? But what's going to happen here is we're about to see the ult pop from Trex, but they're going to lose Jing in the shuffle of all this, of him jumping in there as it's kind of going crazy, right? Safe gets that kill. We're going to get trades back and forth. We're also going to see that MyFreak has come down here. He's going to manage to pick off Leo, right? So Devi manages to kill Trex, who's used his ult, who kills Devi. But then MyFreak has come around here and also managed to kill Leo as well. But as I said, they kind of lost Jing in the whole shuffle of this as it was going back and forth. Safe does miss that shot there, so they know where the Astra is. And so that means that Jing is going to get a free kill here on Cold Dementa, as, you know, as I said, they just completely lose him in the shuffle, and he manages to get that kill. Now, Safe is able to get it, and we end up in a 2v1, but MyFreak is about to play insanely well in this 2v1. He's going to use that smoke, right? And this smoke allows him, you know, it creates some question marks for Guild, right? Like, they have to be worried that he might do this, that he might be in the smoke. This is all like a very possible thing that he might do, right? And it's actually pretty likely in a 2v1 that he's going to play around the smoke, right? But he actually doesn't. He gets suppressed, it doesn't matter, he had no stars left. Anyway, but this angle that he's about to take, this, right? Putting the box here as like an extra like layer, knowing that Guild are likely to go together, right? Why would you not? You're in a 2v1. But he knows that, like, once they've run through here and not seen anyone, like, straight away, right, they're probably going to think, okay, he's in the smoke or he's in boathouse. That's the most likely thing as they run past here and don't see that, you know, he's not in this tight corner, that he's not, you know, anywhere kind of in and around the site. This reposition is just absolutely genius. You can see he avoids the flash as well, that Russ puts a flash out there, you know, and dodges it because he's in this position. And you see that Safe, both of them are kind of looking around because it's such a weird angle to be in, but it's such an amazing angle to be in. And obviously the aim is very good from MyFreak as well. And the way he played that was just, I mean, it was just genius. And now let's come to round number 14. So we're on the defensive side now for Paper X. They'd won the defensive pistol round, but Guild obviously down this much. They actually go for a force buy here where they want to try and win this round. So let's see what they do. We're actually going to see a B split coming out from Guild, but we have Forsaken here who has a judge, and you see that they get this early pressure in here with the C's and the KO nade there to get him pushed up with that judge, which will come in important. We get this KO knife that pushes off the players in market there, and so Guild do get this early control that they want. Actually, Forsaken does get revealed by the Fade Horn, but he has a judge, so they're still in trouble. We actually see a nice flash from Devi, you know, with Benkai here trying to retake the space, but Russ hits a nice shot, as you can see, and kills him straight away, and so Benkai decides to fall away instead. But Forsaken, with the judge, is just owning them here, right, and manages to get 2 kills. And so we end up in this situation where Guild are kind of all trapped in here, right? We're going to see a bit of back and forth with the utility. Benkai's about to throw that Fade Haunt in there, right? And they start pushing there. They get that kill. The thing that we have to look at, though, is that Forsaken all of a sudden is right here. Now, the reason he's right here is because he has TP'd, right? He was here with his judge. He decided, oh, I'm just going to TP here instead. Because I don't know why, I'm bored, I guess, and so he ends up coming behind him, and Trex, you will see, has absolutely no idea. I mean, look at him here, right? Russ has just died there. You've got Trex here. Coldementa's just behind. Look at this. This is one of the craziest things I think I've ever seen. And Trex has no idea, right? There's so much going on at that point that you know, the sound cue is just like an extra sound cue amongst a million different ones. And so he doesn't really realize that that's happened. Forsaken manages to kill him for pretty much free. And then they're going to send the Prowler out and get the last kill as well. It's absurd. It's fun. It's wild. It's crazy. But it is amazing to watch. And now let's take a look at round 16, where we're going to see the power of Jing, and also a really cool idea that I think other teams might take. Some teams might look at this and think like this is an idea we can steal. So they actually get an early kill there on Russ with the Optus Forsaken. He actually gets revealed by this horn, but crucially he's put his Chamber Trap just there. That's going to be very, very important, right? And he TPs away. But what we're about to see is something really, really cool from Paper Rex. Jing is going to start to move as they don't hear anything towards A. He's going to move towards mid there, towards short, and just come in there instead. And obviously, Guild, this is a very pushed up Chamber Trap. They can hear it at this point, so Coldementa just comes here and he destroys it. But I do think that this little setup with having a trap here, I wouldn't be surprised if we saw a team try and get that Chamber Trap there early and try and get someone in this corner early, because what often happens is when you shoot a Chamber Trap, right, a lot of pro players will tend to just walk back, right, destroy it, go back. And maybe you'll re-explore it a bit later, but normally they're expecting that someone will just come and check on it and make sure that nothing's there, right? So, and they don't want to get caught out by things. So the initial idea is to normally go back. So obviously, if you do have someone in this position and they can just swing and check, this is a free kill. And actually that does happen this time, where Jing is going to do that, but from this side, I do think it's, you know, maybe a bit slower from this side, and therefore it might not always work as well from this side. But I do think that kind of play, I mean, you can see Coldementa, he's just out in the open, right? And he has no real recollection of what's going on. Jing actually manages to find Trex as well there as the Astrostar gets recalled. And now we're going to see that he just eats the C's, right? Instead of walking away, he just eats it. And he just stays there, and he kills him. I mean, that's just an insane kill, that one. And then Mindfreak's just going to end it as Safe tries to run through the smoke there at the end. And this was just Paper Rex, you know, by the end of this game, they were doing stuff like that, where, you know, they were just completely destroying them. You know, Jing's just eating Caesars and just sitting there waiting for you. Very, very good from Paper Rex. Now let's come to the final round of the game. They actually missed the very start of this round, because actually Paper Rex had gone for a fast play with Jing ulting here. You see we've got the Fade Horn, the KO knife down there to check for them, and they're trying to just get this rocket off. But unfortunately Jing won't be able to find any kills with it, as the KO knife comes in and kind of stops him. So instead, what we get is a reaction from Guild going fast A instead, and we have Forsaken, who has he started with an op, but then he's just left a judge here by his TP to pick up in case this happened, which it did, and so now he's just holding with a judge. But they pop the KO ult, do Guild, and they send a really nice flash in here, expecting that this might be the case, and it gets them a kill. But Devi is also here in Hell with an Odin, and he found a lot of value from this Odin, and they tried to go for a pretty risky res here, does Leo, right? Like, you know, you haven't actually dealt with the person that got the kill, so, you know, doing this is pretty risky, I would say, overall. Even baiting a tap before this guy is dead, probably not the best idea. But Jing, as you can see there, is coming through the smoke, right? And I think this is something that Paper Rex are better at than a lot of other teams as well, is realizing where the focus is, right? Device just got this kill, so the focus is obviously gonna be on him, and they're gonna be saying he's in hell, and the focus is all gonna be here. So Jing instead runs through the smoke, right? No one's looking at him, and he's gonna get the other 2 kills on these 2 players here, pretty much for free, as you can see. He gets those 2 kills. He's gonna do this to Russ right here. gives him the business, and then we have Trex in a 1v4, who does, to be fair to him, manage to get 3 of the 4 kills there with a Guardian hitting some really nice shots. But Benkai's going to play this pretty well because he's going to reposition and, you know, do something that Trex probably couldn't really expect that he's going to do, because he's going to come around here instead, right? And obviously with the spike down here, you'd probably expect that, yeah, they're probably just going to play in Hell or around Gen, you know, or around these boxes somewhere. So Benkai coming around here instead, he gets a free kill and wins the game for Paper Rex. And so that was Paper Rex's destruction of Guild on Ascent. They went on, of course, to win the game on Fracture as well. And they will actually play Fnatic in the next round, which is going to be an absolute banger game overall. I cannot wait to see that. One of the, probably the most anticipated matchup for me in some time. I cannot wait to see those two teams play.